Hey family, what's going on? Stratton here from Strategic Audio, back again with a new video. So this video is going to be a little bit different. I wanted to talk to you today about the 3 biggest mistakes I've made as a producer and an artist. And while I'm doing that, I'll also be making a new soul sample from scratch. Alright, so before we start, I just wanted to add a couple of reminders. Down in the description, you're going to find some links to a couple free loop kits and some samples, and some premium kits as well. Also, please, if you can, drop a like on the video and perhaps subscribe to the channel. I am truly grateful for any support that you're willing to give. Alright, so like I said, I'm going over the 3 biggest mistakes I feel I've made as a producer and an artist over the years. Mistake number 1, failing to be consistent. So consistency has become like this buzzword in the music production community. Almost every YouTuber producer who does tutorials on how to sell beats says you need to be consistent in order to do so, or if you're trying to grow your tight beat channel, they drill it into your head. Consistency is key, consistency is key, consistency is key. Same goes for trying to sell pretty much anything, loop kits, samples, socks, shoes, whatever. The reason it seems like such a cliche now is, well, because it's true, you need to have consistency in any pursuit in order to make any progress. No matter what business or industry, no matter if it's an academic pursuit or learning a new skill, you basically need to repeat a series of steps consistently over and over again in order to build and move forward. It needs to become a habit, and you need to have the discipline to keep going even when you're seeing little or no results. So my first big mistake was not having any real consistency when I first started actively trying to make money with my music. I'm not ashamed to admit that I started trying to sell beats online years and years ago, way back in the days of SoundClick. Yep, I was there. I was on Rock Battle. I was on Airbit when it was still called My Flash Store. And I was on BeatStars in the very early days of BeatStars, yet I had never achieved any real traction. Yes, I had some sales sporadically, here and there, and that's because my beats, I guess, were generally decent enough. But with selling beats, I never really decided on a particular path and stuck with it long enough for it to see any real progress or, gather any real results. I used to post stuff to YouTube, but in those days, I really didn't get that you needed to do it consistently. And back then, you could post a random beat video and get 10,000 views fairly easily. I recognize the value of consistency now because of how it has helped when I applied it to selling loops. You see, after failing to sell my beats on a consistent basis, I came across someone who introduced me to these royalty-free loop sites like Producer Loops and Modern Producers and so on and so forth. I started regularly putting out kits on these marketplaces. Now in hindsight, the musical quality of some of those kits isn't great, but for the time they were pretty decent. Despite that, this is the time when I began to see even the smallest bit of success. But I'll leave that full story for perhaps another video. Listen, if you're a new producer watching this, or a not so new one but you still feel stuck and can't see a way through, my advice is to stay the course, put in the reps, and keep a predictable and steady schedule of uploading your beats or your loops and putting out content. So for me, mistake number 2, being impatient. This is closely connected to the consistency issue because for me, I think I just couldn't find the discipline to be consistent because I was too impatient. I wanted the money, no. I wanted the views, no. I wanted the placements, no. If I tried a particular marketing strategy for a couple of weeks and it didn't miraculously or automatically make me a ton of sales, I got frustrated and gave up. Try something else. While it is good to try different strategies in business, you have to do 3 things. Well, much more than 3 things, but here's 3 things that I want you to think of that you need to do. Number 1, take the time to understand what needs to be done. 2, take the time to learn how to do it correctly. 3, give it time to generate enough data so that you can make a sound judgment as to whether or not this particular thing can be beneficial to you. You can't spend $20 to run an ad and expect it to miraculously generate $1,000 in sales for you overnight. That might happen, but that is not the norm. That is definitely an outlier. Everything requires time. Everything requires a process. This was another huge mistake that I made that essentially stifled my growth as a producer and an artist. Impatience is a sign of lack of discipline. And without the discipline, you're not going to have the consistency to take something from idea to fruition, even in the face of challenges and trials and tribulations. You have to be able to wait it out. Everything requires time. Time to understand. Time to learn to do it correctly. Time to get the results. Time to implement changes and go again. Without patience, you're just not going to get where you need to go or where you want to go. Biggest mistake number 3, my failure to keep learning and growing and exploring and innovating and evolving and adapting. Basically, a failure to keep learning and new ways of doing the thing that I was trying to do. At points throughout my journey, I found myself struggling with the quality of my beats, the quality of the music I was producing. Not just the mix, but literally also how good the beats were. I would listen back to them with a critical ear and be like, yeah, they're okay. A lot of them were definitely not the types of beats that would make you get that stank face like, It was at these points I recognized there's no way that I would have had much success selling beats or even loops. I had become complacent at those points. I had reached plateaus, and the simple reason was that I had stopped learning. You know, there's points to your journey where you reach these peaks where you are at the top of your game for the time, and everything that you do seems like it's gold, and you can feel it, and the people around you, maybe it's your friends, your family, your customers, just random people that know it is you that did this thing, those people are saying, yeah, that's great stuff, that's fantastic stuff, and you know it's genuinely good stuff. I had a number of those points throughout my journey. In other words, at those points I knew that I was making bangers. So, I thought I was good. I was feeling myself. At each point, it's this arrogance that you build up. You're feeling yourself. But like everything else, music and musical tastes change and evolve over time. I was simply not staying up to date with the changes, with the shifting sands, so to speak. I wasn't learning any new mixing techniques. I fell behind on that. I wasn't really analyzing the state of music and the techniques that producers were using and the types of melodies and the sounds. I fell behind on that as well. And therefore, at certain points, everything I tried to make felt flat, low energy, and essentially out of date. None of that is good if you're trying to sell beats or if you're trying to get other producers interested in your loops and samples. At one point, or at certain points, I went from getting praise for my beats to little more than a lukewarm response. If you are a creative of any kind, producer, rapper, singer, painter, sculptor, graphic designer, you need to keep exploring and trying to innovate, build new skills, understand what's going on at the cutting edge of thought in your chosen field. Learn new techniques. Learn what your audience or customers are into, because it all evolves over time. If you are just all full of yourself and you think you have nothing left to learn, that is when inevitably you get left behind. Never ever stop learning. With everything in life, experience itself, if nothing else, always has something new to teach you. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you made it all the way to the end. I hope you enjoyed and found some sort of value from the video, and I hope you like the beat. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're so inclined, and check out the free kits and other resources linked in the description below. Peace and blessings until the next video.